Southern California is well known for its laid-back atmosphere, its beaches, ocean views, and spectacular weather. But once a year, the international spotlight shines a light on the area, and the Southern California glitz and glamour gives way to raw horsepower. Long Beach, California has been the pinnacle of American street racing for over 35 years, since the inaugural Formula 5000 race in 1975. 4 years ago, the American Le Mans Series, presented by Tequila Patron, brought its brand of full-contact sports car racing to the streets of Long Beach. Today, for the 5th time, the battle is renewed in Southern California. Will Long Beach provide teams with a chance at redemption after a rough start to the season? Or will the tight confines and tough competition take its toll? We'll find out next.
This is the American Le Mans Series.
World-class drivers,
Premier road courses,
and cutting-edge technology. Born in France in 1923,
with the first running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the American Le Mans Series is the glory.
And the grueling reality of world-class sports car racing.
drivers from around the world got their speed, skill, and endurance.
Separate classes racing on the track at the same time.
It's the chain that connects the new and the true sports car fans
to an extraordinary racing tradition. This is the American Le Mans Series.
The crowds have turned out as they do every year. The weather is absolutely perfect, but something is different this year. It's the American Le Mans Series debut on ESPN. The Tequila Patron American Le Mans Series at Long Beach is next. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Till and welcome to Long Beach, California, site of one of the world's most iconic motorsports happenings. You know, over the last 4 weeks, the drivers and teams in the American Le Mans Series have literally traveled from coast to coast, over 2,500 miles from the site of Round 1 in Sebring, Florida to here in Long Beach. But the coast, not only the big contrasts. In Sebring, it was a 12-hour event held on a wide-open airport circuit. Here in Long Beach, the shortest event of the season, it'll be held on a concrete-lined temporary street circuit. To make matters even more challenging, 5 different classes of cars competing all at the same time. The most exotic and the fastest of those classes, the Le Mans Series prototypes. And earlier today, Jamie Howe had a chance to visit with our pole sitter in the LMP1 category.
And what was one of the most exciting qualifying sessions of the day, it was Dyson Racing and Guy Smith coming out on top. Guy, there was a lot of back and forth there between yourself and Klaus Groff. How hard were you pushing for this pole?
Yeah, I was pushing very hard. I mean, obviously, we wanted to get pole position here in Long Beach. It's very important, been a Masters home race. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely pushing hard.
Now, this is a big race. It's only 2 hours, though. So how big does that play into the strategy?
Well, as you say, it's a sprint race. It's flat out, completely different to Sebring, which was our previous race. So, you know, we're going flat out from the start and hopefully stay out of trouble and hopefully bring the GL car in first position.
They're going to have their work cut out for them, though, because one of the great things, multiple classes racing at the same time. For more on GT, here's Kelly Stavist.
And Joey Hand just barely edged out Jan Magnussen in that number 4 Corvette to grab the pole. So Joey, clearly the speed is there, but strategy is very important here at Long Beach too. What's the team's real key focus here?
Well, I mean, my strategy is to get out in front and run away. That's always I'm looking for. I got to tell you, my BMW is really strong qualifying. The boys here at BMW Team RLL did a great job getting the balance right where I wanted it. But, you know, we got 2 of the best strategists, I think, in the world sitting on our pit stands, and that's Bobby Rahal on my car and Scott Remke on the other one. So I think they'll get it right, but you know, first things first. I got to get through turn 1 and then try and set sail.
Well, thank you, Jamie and Kelly. There'll be plenty more stories from pit lane today, I'm sure. But I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to the other 2 members of our broadcast team, Bill Adam and Johnny O'Connell.
The 12 Hours of Sebring might have been a phenomenal corporate battle of Audi versus Peugeot, but here at Long Beach it is just as intense, only this time with 2 of the finest privateer teams in the world, Dyson Racing and Greg Pickett's Muscle Milk Aston Martin. Now these cars are slightly different. They are both Lola chassis, but the Dyson car used a smaller turbocharged Mazda engine, so it's more nimble through the twisties. Doesn't quite get down the straight as well as that big Aston Martin does, but they should balance out perfectly in the long run. The fun part is going to be watching them go through a GT battle that is maybe even better than what we saw at Sebring.
Well, you know, in the GT category right now, Bill, is where all the manufacturers are. The best manufacturers. You've got Corvette, Ferrari, BMW, Porsche bringing out their best and showing their best. It is so competitive in that category right now, and really these guys, a lot of strategies got to come into play. They've got the starting driver has to look after his car, make sure he hands off his car in one piece to the guy that's going to finish the race, hopefully bringing that car home to a victory. And I can tell you, there's nothing like winning at Long Beach.
And finishing the race, that's going to be the key. Now let's take a look at some of the places where you do want to pass and also where you don't want to pass here at Long Beach.
The circuit here at Long Beach is historical. You've had so many great race car drivers come through here over the years. One of the things, though, that is most important is getting down Shoreline straightaway, going into turn 1. These cars are getting up to about 160, 170 miles an hour, going from 6th gear, changing down to 3rd for the left-hander turn 1, one of the best overtaken areas on the racetrack.
The next good passing spot is up here at turn 9. Again, at the end of a long straight, you can slot by somebody on the inside under heavy braking. But it is also critical to keep your car very neat and through this number 11 hairpin. Essential you carry as much speed as possible out of the hairpin down the straight.
Well, thanks, Bill and Johnny, for the track description. Certainly challenging here at Long Beach. These guys are going to have a battle on their hands. Let's take this opportunity to introduce you to our 5 class pole sitters.
Hi, I'm Guy Smith. I'm Guy Smith, York, England.
Hi, I'm Chris Dyson from Poughkeepsie, New York.
Hi, I'm Gunnar Jeanette from Salt Lake City, Utah. Mexico City, Mexico. Hi, I'm Dick Muller from Emmerting, Switzerland. Joey Hand, Sacramento, California.
Hi, I'm Jerome Liekebonen, and I'm from the Netherlands. Hi, I'm Tim Pappas from Boston.
Hello, my name is Jens Wolter. I'm president of Porsche Motorsport North America. In behalf of Porsche, I welcome you to sunny Long Beach. We hope that you enjoy the race and the broadcast on ESPN2 and ESPN3.com. And now let's go racing.
You see the starting grid at the top of the screen. We keep talking about strategy, guys. It is a short race, and a lot of people would think, well, it's just time to go, but there's going to be a lot that comes into it, to say the least. Let's talk about race strategy, pit window.
You know what? It's going to be critical. You know, how cautions play and all that kind of stuff. These guys got to, you know, after then you can make a stop and be able to go to the end without a driver change and stuff like that. But the fuel, what type of mileage these guys are going to get, it's going to be completely different than last year. They added 15 minutes. I don't think if this race goes green the whole way, anybody can do it without 2 stops.
And for any of the prototype cars, their ultimate goal right now is to see if they can possibly coax more than 60 minutes running out of a tank of fuel. They would love to be able to get away with only a single pit stop. It's unlikely, but it is possible.
And we've got great onboard shots for you as well today. We look at the length of pit lane there on that strategy font. 50 seconds just to roll from pit in to pit out, and that does not include the stop. It is the Mazda-powered Lola on the pole, the green and white number 16. Aston Martin power alongside Muscle Milk Team. Aston Martin in that beautiful black and white.
Wow.
Aston Martin, and the green flag waves, and we're racing here at Long Beach.
Look at the Aston. He's already trying to pass down the inside. That's a risky place to do it. No traction there at all. Chris Dyson keeping the lead.
Chris Dyson holding on to the point and looking back into GT. It's BMW still up front. The Corvette slots in. The 45, the Flying Lizard Porsche, the silver and red Porsche there, the leading Porsche in the field, but the number 17, Team Falcon Tire Porsche, right behind. GT is going to be a war today.
It's going to be amazing, and the geometry of Long Beach and that last hairpin kind of mandates that cars get through their single file.
Look at the Aston.
So the Aston taking a peek to the inside.
Got him.
Dyson crossing underneath.
Wow, good stuff.
Good stuff already.
Aston in his position going into this right-hander. He's going to retain it. Chris Dyson trying to get a good run off this corner. Now, this is the end of the other straight. Now we're on board Dyson's car. I don't think he's close enough to try a late braking maneuver here, but this was the other good passing spot we talked about.
On board with Chris Dyson there. It was a great shot. A 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo in the 16. Look at the battle in GT. The 45, the Porsche driven by Jörg Bergmeister, Patrick Long trying to work its way up, and already GT cars having to deal with LMP challenge cars, the prototype there in front.
And one of the difficult things for the challenge cars is they're lighter, and so getting heat in the tires and having grip early in a stint is a very difficult thing, and we were really kind of expecting this, that the GTs would have a hard time. Joey Hand had a killer start coming off that hairpin. He just pulled the trigger. Jan Magnussen didn't have a shot. You look at Billy Oberlin behind Magnussen taking a peek.
Wow, we said at the start, 5 different classes competing here in the American Le Mans Series. You're already seeing those classes get mixed up together. It's Lucas Lohr, Klaus Graf in there, number 6. Oh, and already a problem. One of the TRG entries, that is the GT Challenge class. I didn't see which number, but contact with the wall there. Indeed, the 66.
Boy, this is a hard impact too. That right front suspension completely collapsed. Here we go, coming through turn 1 and caught on the outside, no place to go and not a lot of grip.
The 32 involved as well. That's the GMG entry. Brett Curtis, James Safronis in the 32. It's Spencer Pompelli, Duncan Indy, 2 pilots in that 66 car for TRG over the weekend, and their day is done, and done early. But there are the prototypes. Good that the 66 made it back into pit lane before the prototypes got there, but the battle is on. As I said before, just a 2-liter turbo in that 16, the second place car, and a 6-liter V12 in the Aston Martin in front.
And you can see the difference in power right there, but you know, a lot of times, you know, you look at the lightness that the Dyson's car is going to have, and we're going to see him close up under braking. You know, Bill talked about the twisty parts. Well, we're coming up to the twisty parts now. Up in the 3rd gear, down in the 2nd, around here. Love seeing how close these guys come to the bushes. Back up in the 3rd, trying to maintain your momentum through here.
And right now, they'll still be driving at a fairly conservative pace before they get the tires up to temperature, like Johnny talked about a second ago. They can do it a little easier than the LMP-C cars because they weigh a little more. They're using more horsepower. They're getting a little bit of wheel spin off the corners, and they're trying to rein in that wheel spin through a traction control system. But that does generate necessary heat.
Let's go back to the battle for GT. You see Joey Hand, the 56 car, out in front there, and then an LMP Challenge car, the green car, the driver you see with the yellow helmet in front of the Corvette. 2 different classes fighting there on the racetrack, not for position within their class, but it is definitely going to impact the racing here. You're going to have to deal with traffic today, and now the BMW slips past.
That is huge, too, because he should be able to break away at this point. I think the LMPCs are actually holding up this group of GT cars, so that's a big move for Joey Hand to do that before coming out of the straight.
And there is no doubt that they're holding them up. And you know, when you're in a GT car and you're in this position, you've got a LMPC car in front of you, your frustration level is going through the roof. You are wanting these cats to let you by, especially, you know, whoa,
and there's a Jaguar. The Jag.
That is a really hard hit. This will be a pace car coming out for this one. He won't be moving.
I believe that is turn 8, the right-hander onto the back straightaway. One of the RSR Jaguars having a problem there. He's missed the tire wall that is there to try to lessen the impact just past that, and has made contact left side up against that wall. And we talk about concrete canyons on street circuits. That's exactly what you see here. As the course does go double yellow, the pace car will be sent out. It's Paul Gentilozzi behind the wheel of the 98 right now. Gentilozzi, the team owner, a very experienced driver. He's won here at Long Beach 5 different times in production-based cars, very similar to the Jag that he's driving today, but obviously not going to take home a victory today. Actually, it was the 99 car, we're being told, that had the problem. That is the one driven by ex-IndyCar drivers Bruno Junqueira and Cristiano D'Amata.
You know, and both those guys are extremely gifted, talented drivers, but it's so hard to adjust to the mass and weight of a GT car. These guys are learning. That's an expensive way to learn, though.
Well, we said Long Beach is a war, a 2-hour sprint. We're already seeing casualties right now of the concrete canyons from here at Long Beach. The American Le Mans Series, proud to be on ESPN2. We'll be back to Long Beach. The American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Tequila Patron, simply perfect. By Michelin, a better way forward. And by Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. Well, we talk about what it takes to win here at Long Beach. One of those things that it takes is strategy, and you really only get one shot at it. It's all about playing the yellows, playing the strategy, and making the right choices. The choice here, you only get one time to make one.
Okay, so we all have big choices to make in life. Like when you're at a nice restaurant, do you go with the steak or the lobster? Well, the Michelin teams here at Long Beach have a similar decision to make this weekend. Do they go with the softer compound tires and maximize their grip? Or do they go with the harder medium compound tire and extend their wear? Hey, well, the good news is, just like you can now order a Surf and Turf, Michelin has been working to make their medium compound tires grippier and their soft compound tires last longer. And Michelin has a perfect record here at Long Beach, and they've used both of these approaches. So it could really come down to the timing of those caution flags.
Well, we talked about the strategy, and we've already seen teams gamble on soft tires in qualifying, other teams determining that they were going to run medium tires, and this one pit stop that we think most teams will be able to do on just one stop, at that point in time, they're going to have to make the right call. You ride on board the Level 5 LMP2 entry. Remember, this is where the defending champions in the LMP Challenge category for 2010. A lot of stories from their pit lane this weekend. For more on that, we'll head back down to pit road and Kelly Stabist. Kelly?
Dave Stone is the team manager for Level 5 Motorsports. And Dave, neither of the team's LMP2 cars participated in qualifying, which raised some eyebrows. What was behind that decision?
Well, we have a lot of unusual dynamics here at this race. We have to send the coupe Lola to Le Mans tomorrow for the test next week. So we were trying to protect that car. We were hoping that we could switch cars to the cost cap car and not put the coupe at risk at all. But with the way the rules are, we weren't really allowed to do that. So we're going to be out there and try and support the series and do the best we can to keep it out of harm's way. We've still got some power issues that we're trying to work around. And by qualifying, it would have put us up in the mix of some cars that we don't have enough speed differential. So this is, probably the best choice out of consideration for the other competitors and for our goal to protect the car.
Will they run a full race?
I don't think we will. We have to run 20 laps per driver to get their points, so we'll probably run about 42 laps and bring it in and not take the risk, and that'll give the team a little time to get it ready. First Air is going to be here to get this stuff gathered up for it to be on a plane tomorrow for the Le Mans test date, and that's got to be our focus at the moment. And hopefully the competition and car count will come up as we go into the year here in ALMS. We want to support the series from the ground up, and that's why we're here this week.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
All right, thanks, Kelly.
Well, I think he's got a great career in politics because I have never heard such a crazy answer in my life. If you're worried about speed differential, number one, why come here in the first place? You're going to be facing these cars throughout a 2-hour race. Are you not going to be lapping? Well, of course you are. But that excuse just does not hold water with me. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you heard him say they've got to send it to Le Mans. They're actually going to run 2 cars at the test day. This will be one of them. So right now, the defending champions in the LMP Challenge category content to ride right now in LMP2.
And it's so hard to say because, every year Le Mans is a focal point for so many of these teams that compete in the American Le Mans Series. And the American Le Mans Series, as we see the Jag, getting moved up onto the record, has more wins than any other series. I mean, this series has produced more, champions and winners in Le Mans than anything else. And so, that is the crown jewel. And so, maybe you take it with a grain of salt. But, I got to tell you, I heard the same thing, and my head is spinning.
I agree with you. Le Mans is the crown jewel, but if you're worried, why come and enter in the first place if you're going to be that worried about a car? This is a race.
It's Long Beach, though, man. It is Long Beach.
Well, and you wonder if maybe they get out there in it, they'll decide that they want to stay a little bit longer. But you talk about the focal point. They will run another coupe in the test day, a slightly different coupe, so they just want to see which one of them is going to go faster over there for sure. A great crowd on hand here at Long Beach. There's going to be a great crowd as well for the NASCAR coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Nashville begins Saturday at 2 Eastern on ESPN, and certainly down in Nashville, I guarantee you they're going to turn out to watch the Nationwide Series as well. The weather here is absolutely spectacular. It is always great to come to Long Beach in April. Since 1975, this event has taken place, and we've seen all classes of cars run here to watch some of the world's most sophisticated sports cars here at Long Beach. Definitely a joy.
Magic.
Johnny, you certainly know how to drive one of these Corvettes well. We'll talk more about it when we come back, that's for sure. Speaking of Corvettes, you could win a Corvette and take off to France. Enter for a chance to win the new 2012 Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport Convertible, plus a trip for two to the 2012 24 Hours of Le Mans. Just go to www.racetowincorvette.com for entry info. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Winning here at Long Beach can sometimes be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we've got 5 different classes of cars. Drivers that will be vying for the big trophy. We'll be back to more coverage on ESPN from Long Beach. Well, would you pay $175,000 for a Corvette? Well, you probably would if you knew that the money was going to the Austin Hatcher Foundation, which is the official charity of the American Le Mans Series. Just last weekend, April 9th, this 2012 Centennial Edition Corvette brought $175,000, and all of that money went to the Austin Hatcher Foundation. It provides services to children with cancer as well as their families through its cancer care center, Hatch's House of Hope. What a great deal for that organization. Right now, ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues on Sunday and Monday night. First at 8 Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. One of the hottest hitters in the game, Nelson Cruz, leads the defending American League champions, the Texas Rangers, past Mark Teixeira and the New York Yankees. The ESPN's Monday Night Baseball, Prince Fielder and Brewers head to Philadelphia to face Ryan Howard in the National League East with the Phillies. Major League Baseball on ESPN Sunday and Monday night. In the field right now, coming back around. See the green flag already waving right there at the exit of the hairpin. We're back underway in the V12 power of that Muscle Milk Aston Martin. What a jump out to the front. Lucas Luhr holding down the point. Guy Smith, or Chris Dyson, I should say, not giving up the chase, that's for sure, guys.
You know, and he's doing a great job. The dynamics of Long Beach with that hairpin really makes it easy for that guy who's in the lead to break away and get a good jump. Chris, though, did an amazing job staying close. And remember, he's a little bit lighter. He's got to use this tight part of this racetrack to stay close and hopefully force Lucas into a mistake.
Now, something these fellas would have done, as well as the LMP C cars, is to actually turn down the electronic control units on the engines while they were running under the pace car situation. They wanted to get better mileage, conserve some of that fuel, because they still want to do that magical one lap, one stop.
We're watching the rest of the field stream through the GT cars as well. Joey Hand continues to lead the GT class in the number 56 BMW. There is the 55 BMW being driven by Bill Arberlin right now. He is under intense pressure from the 45, the Flying Lizard Porsche, the silver and red Porsche. Patrick Long behind the wheel. The defending race winners here is Flying Lizard, Patrick Long, and his teammate Jörg Bergmeister. They've won the last 2 in a row.
You know, but these BMWs are looking so strong, and as you go through the paddock and you get into the different tents, there's an air of confidence that those guys have. You know, and it was before Sebring, and then, you know, with the success that they had there, they come here. You know they've got a package that is working. You know, Corvette right now, Oliver Gavin doing a great job, but you know, you got Billy Arberlin behind them. These guys are fighting so hard.
I was just really impressed on that, Johnny. Because, oh, look at the Porsche down the inside. He's got him.
He's got to give it to him. Oh,
come on. There's no give there. Bill Arberlin fights to the bitter end.
Yeah, Wolf Hensler swings by. Oh, big chance there.
Got him. He hit the wall.
Oh, God, that was boy. Tommy Milner getting into Arberlin. He's going to be angry, tough to turn the car around there.
Spin it either.
And these are ex-teammates. Tommy Milner used to drive just last year with this BMW team. Bill Arberlin not going to be happy about that, but he really got balked there in turn 1. Milner had to go for it.
And he has got to wait until every take a chance of getting T-boned. And again, he can't spin the car.
Stalled it. This is so bad. Very, very aggressive move there.
Well, we thought this would happen. This is kind of a deal where you have to make some late, almost desperation passes. Wolf Hensler took that opening with that Falcon Porsche, slotted up the inside. Bill just didn't want to give way. Well, actually, Bill did give way for the pass previously.
But then the pack is on Arberlin. He was somewhat defenseless. We said it is a street fight. Indeed, it is. You see the 45 of Patrick Long, that silver and red Porsche, who picked up the position. But Bill Arberlin is the one who definitely paid the price for holding on as long as he did. In In fact, he's still there. The car is stalled. It looks like he's got it restarted now.
And he wants to get going if he can do it quick.
Come on. Is there damage
so
to
bad.
the right front, I believe? Or is that the shadow from the car? I think it may be the shadow. Yeah.
Oh, right in front of his teammate. Magnus gets by.
That was the leader.
Gavin gets by.
Yeah.
Oh, that was huge.
Bill.
Wow. Was that a pass under caution, though? Was the yellow flag out?
Well, the yellow flag is out, but I mean, one of those deals, you know, I say game on and let the Corvette through because you know what? You had an option, go left, go right. It was his own teammate blocking him.
Well, I don't know. The pass, we'll have to wait and see what the officials say. Look at this. Patrick Long now slides past Joey Hand, and you wonder, was there pickup on the tires of that BMW having to be offline? Does Joey Hand have the same Dunlops underneath him that he did just moments ago? Wow, it was busy the first time down there in turn one.
All right, you
getting
see
busy.
Patrick
Here we go.
Long moving to the inside. Oberlin defending as long as he can. Patrick's in there.
He's got it.
They turn in together.
Oberlin very smart, lets him by. Now look at Hensler on the outside, that blue and green Porsche.
Oh, but that was just such a late, I mean, the math doesn't work in that area to make that type of move.
It was a street fight, but it just wasn't going to work for Tommy Milner. I don't think he was alongside as he tried to slide in there. No,
he didn't have it, so, you know, that was that, you know.
Well, you know what? This is 2 races in a row that Corvette and BMW have come together, so I don't think Chevrolet is going to get a Christmas card from BMW this year.
Here it is. You see Hensler slide by, Ferrari slides by, Milner tries to sneak up. He's only halfway there.
You know what? And Oberlin left room for him, so, you know, that's a... All right, now you're offline here. Your car's not turning. You're trying to gather your stuff back together. Go, 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 go. He leaves a little bit of room.
No, Corvette's fault.
All right, the other car you saw slide through was the 62, the Risi Competizione Ferrari. Now, here's when they come back by.
See?
Blocks them.
Yeah, so Gavin's good. Gavin's good on that.
No, there's a waving yellow down in the bottom there.
But
I
you
agree with
can't
Johnny.
stop. You can't stop. So
No,
that would be a bogus call if the officials, you know, have them swap positions.
Well, we'll find out. I'm sure the officials are going to look at it. But meanwhile, that has slowed nothing down on the racetrack. Look at the competition in LMP Challenge. That was the battle for second place. Tommy Dreese in the 89, the white LMP Challenge car that you saw there.
You knew the gloves were coming off.
This is good stuff. We said street fight. You got it. And don't forget, in the middle of all this, the teams are working on strategy. They have to. The 63 has worked his way by. That was Eric Lux who got past Tommy Dreese. And the gloves are off in GT and in the LMP Challenge category. And it is early in the going. Just about 28 minutes in the books from here at Long Beach.
You know, if this sort of stuff keeps up, we may see a whole new aerodynamic addition. It's going to be called a bumper.
Yeah, you know what? These guys are going to be working really hard, you know, and especially right now you got Billy Oberlin, who's right behind Oliver Gavin, and if he can get by Gavin and there's a full course caution, he can run around and catch up. So that is an important position. You're going to see Oberlin really attacking hard.
In GT, it's Ollie Gavin who's moved to the point. Patrick Long running second in his Porsche. Joey Hand has been moved back to third. That is the top 3 right there. Overall, Lucas Luhr continues to lead over Chris Dyson, and there are battles all around 1.9 miles worth of very bumpy asphalt and concrete here in Long Beach. Look at that.
The racetrack.
And don't forget strategy. That first caution has really helped. Can you do it on one? There's your LMP Challenge leader, the 06, Ricardo Gonzalez. This is who is out in front in LMPC. Eric Lux trying to chase down Ricardo Gonzalez, sharing that car with Gunnar Jeanette, who won here last year in that category.
Right, and these are the cars that have a legitimate shot at only doing a single pit stop. Remember, they're crate motors. They're basically a sealed, a controlled engine with a certain amount of horsepower. So they get fairly reasonable mileage. With the amount of yellow flag running that we've had so far, they are now getting awfully close to being able to do it on that one stop. If they can do it, the big cars definitely cannot. They could steal a win today.
It'll be interesting to see. We've had that first yellow flag, and that will be a big help. 2-hour window here, and the guys are going to have to get to the halfway point if they want to do it on one stop. Then the strategy really takes over. What tires do I put on it? 5 different classes of cars battling here at Long Beach. It's Lucas Luhr who leads overall. You can see right now the field really working together. GT fighting with LMPC. It's good stuff from here at Long Beach. Round 2 of the American Le Mans Series for 2011, and it's great to be making our debut on ESPN2 as you look at that battle right there. The BMW working back on the back of Patrick Long. Joey Hand started from the pole. He wants to get back to the front. And that Porsche kind of wide heading down into turn 9.
He's not going to make it easy by any means.
GTC traffic there on the left. That was the 11 JDX entry that these cars just worked past.
Now let's watch how the horsepower compares down the straight. Here they're both getting off the hairpin. Porsche, as usual, they are excellent cars off slow corners. They just put the power down so well. But look at this, at the top end, the BMW really seems to come into its own, and particularly under braking at the far end, it's going to be strong.
And you look up front, Alderlin is all over the back of Gavin. Oh, that's so hard. Now, Gavin having the LMPC car in front of him, you know, I guarantee you he's pulling his hair out because that guy's holding the back, holding everybody back, and it's just making this freight train here so dangerous.
Bill Oberlin trying to get his lap back, and Lucas Luhr trying to hold down the lead. He would like to bring Muscle Milk Team Aston Martin Racing their trophy, the victory from here at Long Beach. We'll be back for more right after this. Tuesday night, ESPN's Year of the Quarterback kicks off 3 for the Show, a 3-part miniseries. Be there as cameras follow Auburn's Cam Newton, Washington's Jake Locker, and Virginia Tech's Tyrod Taylor from the final game of their collegiate careers all the way through the draft in New York. The Year of the Quarterback presents 3 for the Show. Series begins ESPN Tuesday, 8 Eastern. And the battle here is not on the gridiron, it is on the concrete from Long Beach, California, round 2 of the American Le Mans Series. Lucas Luhr still leads overall, but the battle in GT, I don't think intense is strong enough a word.
This is just amazing. I mean, right now it's really hard to gauge who's the quickest. Yeah, I mean, all these guys are laying down really strong laps. Gavin, of course, leading that group with Bill Oberlin behind him.
We understand cars already on pit road a little bit early, isn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, it's the 44 car Flying Lizard Motorsports Porsche on pit road right now. They did do a driver change. So if we are at least 30 minutes in, that's the minimum amount of drive time a driver can do. Darren Law is now behind the wheel of the car, and he will finish out the final stint of the race. And already looked like a clean pit stop. He's already out and underway.
Well, that's 37 minutes in. They've just committed themselves to a 2-stop race because with 37 minutes in, we've got way too long to go, even with a fair amount of yellow, I would think, for the 44 to make it all the way to the checkered flag.
I agree with you, Brian. I think the only thing they could do right now is gamble on another yellow flag situation coming out where they could come back in, take fuel under that, and then maybe get back up. But boy, that's a risk.
We talk about strategy. It's an hour and 22 minutes to go. 55 minutes or so is what we're looking on a GT car as far as a full tank run. You can get a little help with full course cautions, but you're not going to make up another 25 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the type of stop you make if a driver's not feeling well. I mean, it's a warm day here today, and you know, that's just too early strategically to prove to be any advantage.
Darren Law behind the wheel of the 44 now, a very accomplished Porsche driver, also the current chief operating officer of the Bob Bondurant Driving School, is just named to that position recently. He said, I'll be glad to take that position, guys, but I'm not stopping driving. So Darren Law behind the wheel of the 44 right now. Into GTC, the 23 Alex Job Racing Porsche out in front. They ran so well, the battery tender Porsche ran so well at Sebring, but had problems. We talk about how rough some of these racetracks are. Sebring was so rough, it actually turned off the kill switch up underneath the hood. They had to get towed back to the pits. Oh, and a problem right there. Wow, that was the GTC leader.
Well, and you've got all the GT cars coming through right now.
Not bad. Fired up.
Oh, Oberlin bumping into the back of Gavin.
Oberlin desperately trying to get his lap back.
Good job, good spin.
I could not see if that.
Look at Billy. Billy's going to get it. Billy's got him on the outside. Gavin really not making him go the long way around.
He is not
going to squeeze it.
Billy's there.
No,
Billy's there.
Do it.
He's got the lap back. You know, so Gavin's got to fight this, but not so hard. He finds himself in a similar situation.
Nice.
Gavin a little bit smarter there, not fighting it so long. That was not for position.
Oberlin now back on the lead lap. Oliver Gavin in the yellow number 4 Corvette continues to lead in GT, and this is big for Bill Oberlin. We get a full course caution now. He's going to get waved back around, and he'll be back at the back of the pack. New game on right now. So for Bill Oberlin, what a great move, a little breathing room.
I spoke with Scott Rimke, the crew chief and engineer for Bill Oberlin earlier in the week. He said, in our driver meeting, this is what we talked about. It's Long Beach. You have to be willing to fight in order to get your positions. Telling Bill on the radio, remember what we talked about? You got to fight. You got to be willing to make contact. Didn't work for him last time, but this time it did.
Wow, you talk about fight. You're using the right words, Jamie, and you couldn't see it, but man, what a battle. Oliver Gavin just lost 2 positions. Joey Hand on a march, and Patrick Long very aggressive in that Porsche as well.
One of the most fun things, dude, when you are out there and you're driving these cars is how traffic can change the complexion of a race in one corner. We saw that just happen right there. Oliver Gavin doing a great job controlling the lead of the race. You know, and Oberlin gets by, and then all of a sudden, the Corvette freight train, you know, Patrick Long has stepped up this year.
He has stepped up this race, and I think part of it goes back to frustration from Sebring, where he had the contact with the Corvette. But boy, he is driving the wheels off this Porsche right now. And look, down the outside. Now he's not going to make a try there, but maybe just trying to bait him in too deep.
Now, just to point out real quick, after Sebring, the Porsche had a little bit of weight taken off. I don't know how they robbed all that kind of stuff, but they made it happen. Here we have them going into turn 6.
Okay, now the Porsche slots to the inside of the Corvette. Corvette cannot move over, and he in turn gets a little bit blocked by the other slower Porsche. Look at Joey Hand. He takes advantage of the whole thing, goes by them both.
That is the best feeling. That's a seal. Wouldn't want to be you.
5 different classes racing. The white and green Porsche that you see is a GT Challenge Porsche. So once again, different classes mixing really mixes things up. That's exactly what we just saw.
And you get into these guys' heads, and when you get into that moment like that, you've got an adrenaline going through your body like you wouldn't believe. That is so much fun. You know, racing, you know, when it's done well, it's chess. You know, trying to get into the right position for the next corner, thinking ahead. Joey Hand definitely, you know, definitely pulled it off that time.
Joey Hand in the BMW, Patrick Long in the Porsche. The next Porsche in line, the 23. That is the leader in the GT Challenge class. That is not for position right there in front of the yellow Corvette. Oliver Gavin running third. Look at this.
Patrick.
Wow, Joey Hand has position though.
Here we go. Who can break the deepest? Now Patrick is trying to push him over a little bit to get him on the dirty part of the pavement. BMW just as good under braking.
Yeah, but you know what? That's almost like one of those physics deal. You know, one of the things about the Porsche, you have the engine in the rear, and it really allows it to come off a corner well. That whole pass was initiated in the hairpin, a very difficult thing. You don't see that happen often, but Patrick got a really good jump off that corner, allowed him to pull up aside. God, these guys are
it is unique with street racing. You use a different psychology. You talked about chess a second ago, Johnny. You rarely see a pass on a street circuit in a corner. It's always you set it up under better acceleration, you do later braking. That's the kind of passing. It's cut and thrust.
It's BMW versus Porsche. Dunlop tire versus Michelin tire. It's Dunlop's on the BMW, Michelin on the Porsche. So we've got a great battle here. Strategy, we've talked about it. The BMW at Sebring got better fuel mileage than any other GT car, and the Dunlops were magic as well. So how long is the BMW going to go? And do you want to wait for a long time? I don't think you do. You want to be that first person to make the pit stop. Look at Patrick Long off the hairpin again.
His Michelin tires right now are better than the Dunlops. He is getting tremendous traction through that final sequence. Once again at the inside, and I think he might even be a little bit by him.
You know, I think he used that Porsche knob that's hidden away from everything else to get that little extra, but man, Joey Hand bringing him deep.
Patrick trying to bait him to go in too deep.
It is the position that Joey Hand has as they turn into turn 1. Patrick Long can't move. The BMW is there. And Joey Hand prides himself on being a late breaker.
Yep. You know what? And here's one of the things. Remember, these are the starting drivers. So you want to engage. You want to fight. You want to use everything. But you need to remember, okay, I've got a teammate that I've got to hand this car off to and let him, you know, bring that battle towards the end. The idea in this first driver, push hard, but stay at this front. You know, stay close enough that your co-driver can bring it home for you. Right now, though, Patrick Long, giddy up. He's working hard.
Wow, the gunslingers are definitely out at Long Beach, and we still have a long ways to go. 45 minutes in the books with Lucas Luhr leading overall. The battle in GT has been intense from the drop of the green. Bill Auberlen, who got his lap back, is really checked out. He's one of the fastest cars on the track in his number 55 BMW. But this battle right here, Joey Hand leading in GT over Patrick Long.
A little bit of a luxury right there. You can see Joey Hand actually got a clear break that time off the hairpin. Patrick cannot challenge him under braking at the end of the straight here. But
yeah, but Patrick's looking really strong under braking. And when you're in that position and run a second, you know what? Even if you're stronger, a lot of times you need your crew chief to say, dude, chill out and just wait for traffic. Wait for traffic.
I really think the Michelins on the Porsche are working better than the Dunlops on the BMW at this point of the race.
We still have a long way to go. A lot of strategy yet to unfold. We talk about fuel mileage. We talk about tires. They'll not only change tires, but what about what compounds will they go to? That remains to be seen. Strategy will be a big part. Communication there, you hear it. And if you miss any of this weekend's ALMS racing action, then go to Replay Central at AmericanLeMans.com for on-demand video of the race, qualifying, and other highlights throughout the season. That's AmericanLeMans.com, the archival home of all series action. 5 different classes on the racetrack here at Long Beach, round 2. Proud to be brought to you on ESPN2. It's Lucas Luhr who leads overall and in the P1 category. We'll be back to the beach. And dreams at Long Beach, California can be dashed in a moment. And for the drivers out here, the smallest mistake can cost you dearly. You've got to keep the car between the walls. We've talked about it all throughout the day. And these guys right now battling through lap traffic.
This stuff makes you tongue-tied. And right now, Scott Sharp just joined, and he's going to want to keep Patrick Long behind him. Oh, I guarantee you, Patrick right now is going nuts.
Come on, Scott.
Oh, Joey Hand behind him, setting him up.
Yeah, watch Hand. He's going to get a run at him off the corner. Now look at Sharp. He's going back across the track.
Joey Hand looking to get by, and he
Patrick does it.
Patrick's got a tight line through the corner. Can't get good exit speed.
Now Scott Sharp has lost a lap on his stop, but he doesn't want to lose too much more ground, so he's trying to maintain his position.
Things off, bringing it too deep. Coming in. Well, Long's locked up. Oh, Joey to the outside. Joey gets the lead back.
Did he just nudge the wall? Or no, he's...
Oh, and he's blocked the Aston Martin. There's the leader.
Game over.
Back door. Go to the back door.
Heard the crew say go to the back door. That is a back entrance to the pits. We just said that lap traffic plays a part.
We're done. We're done.
Wow, you hear say Patrick saying done, you're done. You're never done, dude.
No.
But you know what? The team knew what was going on because in every single pit out there, they have a monitor of every single corner. So they saw what's going on. I guarantee you Patrick Long was angry at what was going on with Scott Sharp. Scott Sharp messed up his rhythm.
I think that car might have a broken steering arm. All right, here we go again. Patrick Long in the lead. Look at the BMW behind, and look at the smoke.
Trailing smoke. A ton of momentum in there. Also, let me point something out here real quick. That was the first time Patrick was leading the race. And a lot of times when you get out in the front of a race, you're not certain how much momentum to carry into a corner because you don't have that guy in front of you telling you how fast you can go. Could have been one of those deals.
And you see Lucas Luhr almost have a huge problem on board the BMW with Joey Hand.
Scott Sharp thinking.
Yeah, I'd agree. Scott Sharp
should have, fight a little bit, but, when the leaders come.
Wow. Flying Lizard, Patrick Long, Jörg Bergmeister had won the last two races.
This is on board the Aston Martin, and look at how close he comes.
Oh, yeah, and now his tires are wet. He's totally in the dirt.
His are knackered as well now. I mean, they'll have pickup all over him. The crewman shaking his head saying, we are done. Disappointment for Flying Lizard Motorsports.
Patrick Long did bring the car down to pit lane. They did do a driver change. Jörg Bergmeister got behind the wheel. All the crew guys shaking their head, though. Doesn't look like they're going to make it back out right now. They're still assessing the damage. It's broken front suspension. They're trying to see if they'd be able to get it back out to still get some points for the overall championship. But right now it looks like the day is done for the 45 Flying Lizard Motorsports Porsche.
We were just talking about lap traffic and having your hopes dashed, and there it was. As soon as we came back, you can see the suspension loose on that car right now. And that is a mistake you don't see Patrick Long make a lot. Like I said, they've won the last 2 races here at Long Beach. The third time, definitely not a charm.
Indicative of the level of competition that is going on out here. But again, we go back to what we said in the opening. The job of the opening driver is not to win the race. It's to get, be in position, take care of the car, stay at the front. He was doing that, that was a totally unfortunate deal. But, all this stuff is playing into the hands of Oliver Gavin, and actually Bill Auberlen. Think about Auberlen. If there's a caution, that cat could come back around and be in the hunt.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, BMW Motorsports can get Bill Auberlen using strategy back up to the fight. He's gotten his lap back, but they're going to have to use some strategic calls to get there. There's the number 3 Corvette. You see him running up to 4th. Tommy Milner behind the wheel there. Let's head back down to the pits to the Flying Lizard Motorsports camp.
It's a disappointing day for Patrick Long, Flying Lizards Motorsports. Patrick, you were behind the wheel. What happened?
Yeah, that's Long Beach, hard street racing. Unfortunately, one of the Patron Ferraris came out, had done his pit stop, was on cold tires. He knew we were the leaders. I have to just wonder what the hell Scott was thinking. I don't know, maybe he's doing his hair in the mirror or something, but it's time to race. Fair enough, fight to stay on the lead lap, but don't defend the overall leaders of the GT class. And I just screwed up trying to stay ahead of him and Joey. We all came off 3 wide off of turn 7, and then Joey was coming under him to make a move, and it caught me off guard, and I hit the wall. So my mistake, but it's just frustrating when guys come out of the pits and they just don't know what they're doing. But in the end, I have to own my own mistakes, and I apologize to these guys. We had a race car today, and we fought up through there. That was a good stint.
You can hear it in his words and in his voice, frustration and disappointment for Patrick Long today.
You know what? How totally, completely cool. I mean, he said that exactly how I saw it, how I would have felt. I mean, that guy in front of you can create such unbelievable frustration in your mind, and that's what happens.
Patrick Long is such a classy young man. He not only is a brilliant talent behind the wheel, but just carries so much class.
On board with Wolf Hensler up to 3rd, the leading portion now that the 45 is out. So Joey Hand takes back over the point in the GT category. That's where he started the race from his pole position. It's Lucas Luhr who continues to lead overall, and it has been an intense battle. Things not letting up at all. Strategy still coming into play. We'll be back for more from Long Beach as Lucas Luhr continues to lead. The American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Mazda. Zoom, zoom. And by Michelin, a better way forward. We talked about strategy and whether you could do it on one stop. Joey Hand has made the first of the pit stops, Jamie.
He did. Joey Hand already strapped Dirk Mueller behind the wheel of the car. Fuel is in. New set of Dunlop tires going on right now. Perfect pit stop. These guys worked on this. They said, we're not worried about this being a one-stop race. Our guys are ready. That was fast, and they're back underway.
Just past the 1 hour mark, and we talked about it. You want to be that first car to make that pit stop, because that way if there's a full course caution, you're back out in front. You don't want to have to get stuck behind the other guy.
Yeah, although keep in mind, we are past that first hour, but we had about 14 minutes of running under pace car.
And right now, BMW blinked. Let's see if everybody else starts peeling off, changing their strategies.
Remember, BMW, great fuel mileage at Sebring, and now the pressure on Joey Hand's teammate as they head back out on track. Dirk Mueller behind the wheel, but this battle has been intense. Wolf Hensler in the 17, the Falcon Tire Porsche.
Not close enough. Not close enough. Oliver Gavin, he's lost a little bit of edge on his tires because he's come back to these guys.
This has got to pump up all the guys in the Falcon team now. This is Derek Walker, the old IndyCar crew chief. Very, very savvy with street courses.
God.
He's getting some really good runs off the corners in the foul.
Oh, he might have got him there. You saw Gavin get a little bit loose.
Is that a
lot of blocking?
A lot of blocking.
Man.
Yeah, and that's one of those deals where, you know, that kind of stuff starts happening, and that's when bumping starts taking place. You see Milner trying to counter. He's losing a little bit of his body work there from the contact that he had with Oberlin earlier.
And you wonder what race control, Bo Barfield and the guys in race control are going to say, the director of competition will say about that more than one move that we saw Oliver Gavin make. And look at Milner, looks up the inside of Hensler. Good stuff. And remember, we talked about Dunlop tires, we talked about Michelin tires. It's the Falcon brand tire on that 17 Porsche, so yet another manufacturer involved.
And Gavin,
and there's the 4.
Going in the pits.
You said BMW, Blink, Corvette, next.
And you will see at the next lap.
Window net. Loosen the belt. Keep the right front headlight on the side.
Is one of the most exciting parts of the American Le Mans Series when you're a driver is coming down that pit lane. You're loosening your belts, you're disconnecting your helmet, your drink hose, all that kind of stuff, and you are getting ready to explode out of that car, get your teammate in.
Very, very long pit road here as the Corvette comes in.
And Corvette's program manager, Doug Feehan, told me that the keys to today's race would be pit strategy and pit execution. Corvette is known for executing their pit stops nearly flawlessly, but he did point out he thinks it takes their car nearly 5 seconds longer to fuel with that E10 ethanol fuel. You can see they're making their driver change, so Oliver Gavin will hand over driving duties to Jan Magnussen, who put this car on the front row in qualifying. They're on to the tire change. They started on the soft tires, which proved to be key. We have to imagine they're sticking with that. So far, everything looks good for Corvette. He's down, fired up and underway.
The other thing that takes a while with the Corvette and the Ferrari, the only 2 GT cars that have saddle tanks or split tanks. So it takes a while to get that fuel in. And what Kelly was talking about, the difference in the fuel flow, the E85 tanks sit higher off the ground because they take more fuel in a GT car. That higher fuel,
I don't know if the tires are done.
Sure, whose communication that was. So you didn't know if the tires were done. The higher the tank is, the faster the fuel flows, basically. Yeah. So if you take more E85, they run 110 liters versus the 90 liters if you run E10. You've got to have a faster fuel rate, and those split tanks on the Corvette take a little longer to fill. Look at the Ferrari. Tony Vilander behind the wheel. They started dead last and worked their way up.
Now Jan Magnussen, of course, on sticker tires. He's got to take a lap, a couple corners starting to feel things up.
Ferrari already to pit road. They've made their stop, but more stories from pits.
The first car to come to pit lane, Joey Hand, you're already out of the car. How important is that in the strategy for the checkered flags?
Well, I leave that up to these guys on the stand. Bobby Rahal, Scott Remke, these guys are pretty brilliant when it comes to strategy. But I think that's a plan when the window opens up to get to the end. We want to get to the end. So, wow, it was a dirty one out there. It was kind of crazy. But, you know, we came in unscathed and got Dirk in the car, and hopefully that'll be the last stop, and we should go to the end.
It was a dirty race, but fantastic stint for Joey Hand. More cars making their way to pit lane now.
Seen the Ferrari in and out. Jamie Melo behind the wheel now of the 62, and now the prototypes are in.
And the Aston Martin Muscle Milk Machine leads comes in. They made their driver change, so Klaus Graf got behind the wheel. Now, their one big question mark was whether or not they could get that car restarted. They've had some issues with that in the past, but as you see, Klaus Graf got it started. He's back underway.
Everyone holding their breath down there. Muscle Milk Team Aston Martin Racing. They had a fire before the test, or at the test at Sebring before the 12-hour, and they just don't think the electronics have been the same. That will hand the lead to the 16. Chris Dyson still behind the wheel there. These cars are so sophisticated these days. You can replace all the bits of wiring, but a fire just seems to find its way into all the electronics, and it seems like you always have some kind of a little gremlin after you've had a problem. And now Chris Dyson comes in. cards being laid on the table. This pit lane, so long, it takes at least 50 seconds to drive from pit in to pit out. That is without service. All the while, it's right along the fastest part of the racetrack. Pitting under green here, you lose a lot of ground, but as the pit stops cycle through, we'll be back to some good action here. Look at how long it's taken. He's entered. Those are the IndyCar pits along the driver's right.
And going 60 kilometers an hour. That equates to about 36 miles per hour. It takes forever, hits his marks. See the boys go to work.
Chris Dyson already out of the car. Guy Smith climbing behind the wheel right now. They do have the isobutanol going in. American Le Mans Series rules state no other work can be done except for the driver change while fueling. Big question right here, though, will they change tires? After qualifying, they didn't think so. They think their tire wear is going to be just enough. They don't have tires out on the wall. Crew guys checking temperatures. They're adjusting the air pressures right now to get them to the end of the race, but Dyson Racing will not be taking tires in the pit lane. Right now, this is being held up way too long. The number 6 car's already passed back by to take the lead.
Wow, I don't understand that. It would have been quicker to actually have changed the tires than bleed them down.
I agree. And he stalled it.
Now Guy Smith back underway, the 3 in pit road.
Tommy Milner gets out. Olivier Beretta will take over duties now. Now, this car qualified 9th, but it also qualified on those medium compound tires. Clearly, we're not as fast as the soft compound tires. They'll certainly be making an adjustment there. Everything looks smooth, and Olivier Beretta is off on pit lane.
That hands the GT lead after all these pit stops cycling through. Wolf Hensler now in the lead in the number 17. The Falcon Tire Porsche being that, and now he's on pit road.
Which, boy, if this might be the first time in history a Jaguar could be leading if they do one more lap.
Tommy Milner back underway. BMW's on pit road as well. Everyone cycling through now.
That's right, driver change going on for the 55 BMW as well. Bill Auberlin out, Dirk Werner is in. Dirk Werner has not raced on the streets of Long Beach in a BMW. He's been with BMW for a couple of races now. Last time he was here was in a Porsche. He said he's looking forward to it. Crew hard at work right now. Tires being changed, fuel is in. They're gonna get him back out and underway in just a moment. Falcon Tire leading right now, and they're on pit road as well.
Dirk Werner had said the other day he just didn't feel quite confident yet around this racetrack. So street circuits, it's going to take him a few laps to get up to speed. Meanwhile, the 17 is in. Different tire manufacturer, the Falcon Tire versus Dunlop versus Michelin. Brian Sellers taking over from Wolf Hensler. This team ran so well here last year, but this was the Achilles heel. It was a long pit stop that set them back. Not so this time as Brian Sellers underway, and the battle here at Long Beach will continue as Sellers tightens down the belts and heads out. Now, the fight really takes off. The hands have been played, the stops have been done, and off we go.
You know, one of the important things when you're out there, you see Magnussen, he's been able to pull away. Looks like he's stuck behind Scott Sharp here. That's going to be a poor position. Magnussen, I'm sure, will get very aggressive. You've got Melo behind him. You know, but one of the things that makes a driver good is your in-lap. You know, the lap that you're coming into the pits and your out-lap. You know, how good you are on cool tires. We can see the gap, of course, would be Olivier Beretta now in the 3 car.
Well, the relief pitchers have been taken out. The finishers are in for sure, and you can win a Corvette and take off to France. Enter for a chance to win the new 2012 Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport Convertible, plus a trip for 2 to the 2012 24 Hours of Le Mans. Just go to www.racetowincorvette.com for entry info. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As I said, the finishers are in. The battle is from here to the checkered flag. It's going to be a good one. Debut. Porsche has long been known for its science that it brings to motorsport, but there's an art farm to motorsports as well. Magnus Racing knows how to get the best out of their drivers and the best out of their Porsche. Let's take a look at the art and science of racing.
I've raced the Porsche since '95. The dynamics of the engine in the rear, the transmission in the rear is a different overall dynamics than maybe a front engine car. So I am the lead driver and I end up setting up the car initially on the race weekends. I also get John up to speed, talking about sight, path, vision, skills. This is the apex right there. and we're tracking out over here. The straighter you can get, the better off we can come off, obviously. The feedback that we give the engineers is really amazing because they put it directly back to Weissach, or they go back to Stuttgart, back at Porsche. There is a pipeline, direct pipeline, you can see it directly, that goes from here right back to the factory. And they listen to us. They listen to every syllable and they make changes. Make the ride quality better, or the safety factor, or the vision, or the shifting, or different aspects of the car, traction control or whatever, ABS. What we race today is just in full development for what we see on the street.
Well, Craig Stanton, not only a great coach, but gives good feedback to Porsche as well. The lead Porsche on pit road, it was Sasha Maassen who had taken over the point, multi-time champion in the American Le Mans Series. He had made a pit stop on lap 7 during that first full course caution. They played a little strategy, got to the lead, stayed out a little bit longer, but he'll hand over to Bryce Miller, and the lead that they had earned has now gone away. It'll be up to Miller to see if he can claw his way back up to the front.
You know, and a really smart gamble. I mean, they qualified well, but to be competing against the other guys, they had to take a gamble and roll the dice. Could have played their way. This time it didn't.
Another Porsche, and another Porsche on a different brand of tire. Yokohama's on the 48. One of the things that the team had said was in the heat of the day, we're a little concerned we may lose grip. I'll tell you what, those Yokohamas seem to hold up over the stint.
They did. I think they did a really fine job. And, you know, a lot of it, I think, has to be attributed to Sasha Maassen. He is such an experienced Porsche pilot. Used to be a co-driver with Lucas Luhr, who just jumped out of the lead car. They were just about unbeatable for so many years of the American Le Mans competition. Excellent, excellent driver.
Riding on board with Brian Sellers in the number 17 Porsche Falcon tires here. That is a Jag in front, the 99.
And Jamie Milo in that Ferrari. You know, again, a great job for them rebounding after his wreck in qualifying.
Milo running fourth in the GT category. The Jag that we saw in front of Sellers, not for position, but we talk about strategy. We talk about the calls that are made. They put 4 fresh tires on the 62, started from the last with Tony Vilander behind the wheel, and they drove that car. It just shows how good it's working today. They drove that car up into position when they made that pit stop. So the 62 working very, very well. And you got to feel like that first caution kind of helped him out a little bit, brought the field back to him as Sellers slips by the 99.
You know, Sellers is one of these guys really stepped up, you know, especially with a change of ownership in that team. You know, he's doing an amazing job. But as I look up front and I see Milo running behind Scott Sharp, you know there's got to be a lot of Ferrari pride there. I guarantee you those Ricci guys want nothing more to get in front of the other guys. Mello, of course, has been here for several years, knows the circuit.
And it was Cristiano Di Matta in the 99 Jag that Sellers went by. Good to see that team having a good run right now. We talked about the battles. They were intense from the beginning. It was BMW versus Porsche versus Corvette.
Tommy Milner started driving duties in the number 3 Corvette, and early on we saw you have some contact with your old teammate, Bill Arberlin, in the 55 BMW. First of all, what happened?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I saw up ahead there that he had some issues going into 1. And it's street racing, you know. I came across the apex of turn 1. He was still slow up against the wall. I wasn't sure if he had actually made contact with the wall completely or what. And when I had that split-second decision to make, whether I stay behind him or I go for it, he was still slow. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna go for it. And the second, of course, I made that decision, he got going, and I was basically door-to-door with him. And you know, it's definitely, you can't pass there, really, you know, in normal circumstances. But in that case, I thought I could for sure at least, you know, get far enough ahead to where I could sort of assert my my position. And I don't know if he didn't see me or what, but he, you know, started moving over a little bit on me, and I tried to back out, but at that point it was too late, and got the wall on the left side first, then into him. So our Corvette's pretty good. I mean, we have a little bit toes a little bit out, but other than that, it's not too bad.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks.
From GT to the LMP Challenge category, the fight is a good one there as well. Kyle Marcelli in the number 89 entry, leading over Gunnar Jeanette in the Core Autosport, the 06. There's the 06, the silver and blue. Marcelli in that orange, black, and white entry from Intersport. Jeanette looks to the inside. That's turn 8, nothing doing there. And you got to figure that's going to balk him a little bit down this back straightaway.
Well, you know, and what Gunnar is going to do is just throw a fake here and there, try to draw him out of position so he can win that drag race.
Martelli up there, Tommy Dreese behind the wheel of the 89 from the beginning. Dreese with a great run. had that car up towards the front, and now the battle, and you see a little bit of a banner hanging off the back of the 06. It was either Gonzalez or Gunner real close to a wall, close enough to pull down a banner from one of the concrete barriers.
Gunner got a really good run off the hairpin that time too, Brian, and I think he's trying to draft what little bit he can at the back of Marcelli's car. It looks like he might be able to take a shot at the end of the straight here. Yes, he is.
It's all about braking now. Jeanette made it look easy.
Textbook, beautifully done. You know, there is such an extra skill for race drivers on street tracks, and I can equate it. If you take a plank, say 20 feet long and 12 inches wide,
Talking with Kyle Marcelli earlier in the week, and he said, you know, the really exciting thing about this season for me is just the consistency of being with Intersport Racing. The plan for him right now is to be with the team for the full season. Who his co-driver is going to be, it could change. But last year for Kyle, he was in a number of different LMPC cars, and he says the car is fantastic to drive. It does exactly what you ask it to do when you ask it to do it, and he's really looking forward to being able to build on a relationship with a solid team such as Intersport Racing.
Talk about relationships, the 52 LMP Challenge car that Marcelli and Gunnar Jeanette were going by, Alex Figge behind the wheel. He's running with PR1 Mathiasen this weekend. He brought them their first podium last year, sharing that car with 17-year-old Miles Moroney. So Moroney had a good opening stint, dropped back a little bit. They're a lap down, but right now Alex Figge trying to get back what they can get for that team. They're running 4th in the LMPC category. There's the 48 Miller Racing Porsche with Bryce Miller behind the wheel. We talked about what a good job Sasha Maassen had done. It's always difficult for me to say. Sasha Maassen. I need to slow that down a little bit as you look at Marcelli trying to hold on to the back of Jeanette. But Gunnar just magic in that 06. That Core Autosport team doing such a great job. Brand new team, and yet they finished 2nd and 3rd at the 12 Hours of Sebring. The question is, can they bring home a victory from here at Long Beach? We'll find out. It takes an army of Michelin engineers to take care of the teams that they support here in the American Le Mans Series. They were hard at work. Got plenty of cars both in prototype and in the GT category. And we talk about the battle on the racetrack. It's also a battle for the Michelin Green X Challenge to see who can go the furthest, the fastest, with the least environmental impact, both in prototype and in GT. The look at the prototype category right now, level 5 out in front of the number 6 Muscle Milk Aston Martin entry, and in GT, BMW leads over the Risi Competizione Ferrari. Ferrari's both 2nd and 3rd, and we expect the BMW to be up there. They got great fuel mileage at Sebring and problems on the racetrack. You see the 17, Brian Sellers getting balked there by the 77, can't get out of the way. The 63, the LMP Challenge car of Elton Julian, running 3rd in class. Sellers running 5th in GT. I'm not sure if he got passed or not. That is the Magnus Racing entry, the number 77.
Might be a bump involved here. That's kind of an unusual spot. Let's just watch. Okay, coming into the hairpin, just watch in the background. No, just got loose coming in the entry. That Porsche just, it was like a pendulum.
Wow, and Jamie Mello just slips by, and then nose to nose with Scott Sharp. Here comes Brian Sellers. He tries to go wide. It was the place to go in the beginning. The flag is waving, but wow, and then you see the 63 of Elton Julian get
So
hung up in
frustrating.
there as well. Craig Stanton behind the wheel of the 77. Odd to see him make that mistake there, but
you know, I'm going to argue for Sellers in that case, because if I'm in that situation, you're going to go to the outside. It's just a natural move. So that was just bad luck for him. That was one of those could be a hero deals. It didn't work out for him, but you know that. You know what? And also, the sun's low now. I mean, your visibility is not as awesome as it is, you know, when you're in those race cars. As on TV, because, you know, we've all driven, you know, rental cars with pinged windshields into the sunlight. Your visibility, I promise you, is not always that great.
Sellers trying to get back up to pace. This is where it all happened moments ago, and we know if there is a problem at all in the hairpin here at Long Beach, it can create big problems for those behind you. We've even seen teams have to change steering racks in order to get through there. That's just how tight that hairpin is.
I remember the Audi used to have to do that when they came here. They had a special steering rack just to get around that hairpin.
In the LMP2 category, the 33 parked on pit road right now. We talked about that earlier. This is a car that will be on an airplane tomorrow, probably a first-class seat.
Oh, no doubt.
Over to France to get ready for the test days for the 24 hours of Le Mans. The Level 5 Motorsports team will run 2 of these Lola Coupes there in the P2 category. So both cars now have stopped in the P2 category. So Level 5 packing up. They want to focus on Le Mans. We talked about that earlier. They'll run 2 coupes over there, and they'll take them to the test day, see which one runs better. But that's where their focus is. Meanwhile, look at the battle that continues on the racetrack in GT. It's the 62, Jamie Mello. He made the mistake in qualifying.
Yeah.
You can talk about cold tires all you want, but everybody starts on cold tires. Mello went out and promptly spun in the fountain turn, took the rear wing off. Qualifying was done before he ever got a lap in.
You know what? And from a professional, you don't expect that. That's one of the things you're not supposed to do. But, you know, in defense of him, I can remember Petit Le Mans, Alan McNish, you know, having a wreck on a warm-up lap. So, you know, it does happen even to the best.
Well, they started on fresh tires from the back of the field. He has driven his way up, and this is the latest pass that he made. Scott Sharp in the 0-1, problems with braking down in turn 1. Jamie Mello says, thank you very much.
That's feeling the pressure. That's feeling the pressure, and that allowed him to get by.
We said the 62 started at the back. Quite a run to the front indeed.
Tony Villander making his way from not just the back of the GT field, but the entire class all the way up to 4th by the time he turned over to Jamie Mello. What was it like out there passing through the field?
It was quite interesting. I mean, a lot of things happening, small crashes, pieces of cars flying in the air. So I tried to stay out of trouble. Sometimes it was a bit frustrating just to stay behind the other cars with similar speed. But this was the target, to finish my stint in a good position, and we tried to attack in the second part of the race.
After all the challenges you've had in this new car, and then with the crash in qualifying, how surprised are you that you're back in this position to finish on the podium?
Yeah, first we need to wait to finish the race, but with the experience of Petit Le Mans and things like this last year, so let's finish the race first. But to be in this position now is a positive thing. We still have some work to do. We are making progress. I think if we finish on the podium, it will be a positive energy for the team, and then to come back to the next race.
Would certainly be a huge victory if this team ends up on the podium.
Well, indeed, because they did not have a good run at Sebring. They did not finish there. They had alternator problems. This Ferrari 458, brand new, very little development on the part of any of these teams. But you talk to all the drivers, and they say they think that the potential of this 458 it's incredible. They look to great things in the future. They didn't get the fuel mileage that they want at Sebring. They didn't have the reliability, but they seem to be learning about this car every time it turns the wheel. And right now, Jamie Mello up to 3rd in GT.
Yeah, and again, we pointed this out at Sebring, that for those of you sitting at home that realize that, well, the Ferrari 458 has 570 plus horsepower, and the M3 has over 100 less. These are all governed by the American Le Mans technical staff. They have restrictors put in intakes. They have different things to try and balance the horsepower out. That's why you've seen such incredibly competitive racing today through so many different classes.
And talk about another one of the classes, the GTC class, the 54 Black Swan Racing entry. Remember, they were the class champions in 2010. If you're an American Le Mans Series fan, you certainly remember that. And it's Jerome Bleekemolen behind the wheel right now. Car owner, team owner, Tim Pappas started this event. Jerome Bleekemolen, absolutely magic in one of these Porsche GTC cars.
did an amazing job in qualifying. Normally when you have a category like that, there's not a big spread, between times. But I want to say he had half a second on the field, did a really good job in qualifying.
Yokohama tires on all of the GT Challenge cars, and Jerome Bleekmolen will not be behind the wheel of this 54 Porsche all year long. He wasn't there at Sebring. He's actually running an LMP1 category car for Rebellion Racing, and he'll have to miss another round because of an international event. But while he's here, Tim Pappas says he will definitely be in the car. They were a great team last year, and they shared the championship in the GT Challenge class.
Well, I got to argue, man. This is an international event. We got drivers all around the world here.
Jerome Bleekmolen leading in the GT Challenge category down the back straightaway right now, but now available for 2011. News, video, live timing, and more. It's all on your iPhone with the American Le Mans Series iPhone app. So look for it at the App Store on your iPhone. Get all the American Le Mans Series information. You can even find out who's leading from right now here at Long Beach. You can see it right there on the leaderboard as we go to break. We'll be right back. Transfer of technology from race car to street car to race car is not at all uncommon. We know Corvette Racing is big on technology transfer, but for one young American driver and an American car company, what a tremendous opportunity to learn.
Our GT2 Corvette, obviously, is based off the ZR1 Corvette. If you look at our race car, it looks almost identical to what you see on the street. There's a lot of technology that is transferred from the street car into the race car. So, like the chassis itself, the chassis of our race car is built in the same exact chassis you get on the street. There's all the aerodynamic bits and pieces that are different for the ZR1 are added on the race car to make our race car better. So to have that opportunity, to have that chance to drive for Corvette Racing, an American icon as itself, and then, it's being an American kid, 25 years old, and to have the chance to drive, just for that brand, but also for the team that is Corvette Racing and the success they've had is very, very cool for me.
I look at Tommy Milner, and I think he's been doing this for years, but when he talks about his age, it makes you realize just how young he started. You ride on board right now with Klaus Graf, the number 6. That is the Muscle Milk team, Aston Martin Racing, Lola Aston Martin. 6-liter V12 Aston Martin power, working his way through traffic. The GT traffic in front of him, these are not slow guys by any stretch of the imagination.
And really hard, very hard to see through that windshield too, Brian, because it's on such a steep angle. The rake of it is really severe. When he gets down near the end of the long straight, the glare is just terrible.
And you know what, though? You would see a far different Klaus Graf if Guy Smith was right on his gearbox. I mean, he has the luxury of a big lead right now, work his way through his traffic, just look after things. He's getting that told in his ear as he's driving.
And we also know that Klaus Graf right now has fresh Michelin tires on that Aston Martin, and we also know that Guy Smith does not. When they did the driver change on the Dyson Racing team, they left the Dunlops on and just bled the air pressure down.
Yeah, now something we want to listen to, just when we're coming up pretty close here to the hairpin, we're all just going to lay out and just listen to the car. It sounded like it bogged off the hairpin. Just listen.
That was bogging, or the traction control really working in.
It's difficult to say. I'm wondering possibly if he has lost low gear on that car. It sounds like he's maybe one gear higher than he wants to be.
One of the things about this racetrack, anytime you have a car that goes over bumps, when the car weights and unweights, the pressure put on the drive line is intense, and a problem for the 48. Bryce Miller behind the wheel, running 7th in GT. Sasha Maschen had a great run in this car a little bit earlier. Yokohama tires on the Miller Racing.
And are you in a place
Don't know where he's at, but this could be a full course.
The crew talking to him.
I think he's off track, actually.
So Bryce Miller trying to get the Porsche restarted. Let's take a look.
Going down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, just got into there a little bit too deep. Yeah, definitely touched the back of him a little bit.
The Corvettes are not winning frames.
Right on board. Wow, and that was not for position, so Magnuson being a little aggressive, and a problem for one of the Patron entries is the 0-1 of Scott Sharp, who was running 4th in GT.
And the right rear corner, he has made contact with one of the walls.
All right, boys, snapped on me. I don't know what happened.
Snapped on him.
Say it snapped on him. He doesn't know what happened. Perhaps the racetrack getting a bit greasy right now, late in the day, Johnny.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, again, that might have been a similar situation. You don't know what happened with the number 4 Corvette. You know, whether there's something down there that is causing some issues.
So Scott Sharp bringing the 0-1 to the pit. Significant damage to the right rear. You can tell the alignment is certainly off as he came in. Here's what happened. Turn 9.
Oh, he lost it going into the corner.
Wow, and backed it around completely. That's what got the right rear.
He sure did.
That is turn 9 at the end of the back straightaway. It's actually where we saw the problem for Patrick Long earlier when he locked the right front tire on his way in, and I'm not sure Scott Sharp is going to even get back to his pit box.
He looks like he's dead in the water.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
that right rear suspension has collapsed.
Got the Corvette pit. Stop. Probably locked up somehow. Might need a jack. Only 4 guys can touch the car. Only 4 guys can touch the car.
I wouldn't worry about 4 guys at this point.
Looks like the right rear has indeed given up the ghost. But as the team, Johnny, you said it earlier. You said it when Patrick Long had his problem. It's not over. It's not over.
Oh, you know, no, it's right. You've got to look after things. You've got to get to the end. So easy to get into the battle here and forget. You got to be there at the end. Mistakes can happen at any time.
You saw the fans there in the Patron hospitality area looking at their car. They've been rooting on Scott Sharp and Johannes van Overbeek. But problems right now as the crew looks over it. Should be okay. We don't expect pit stops for Corvette racing, so everything should be fine. They just need to get the car moved.
As you can see, the 01 Extreme Speed Ferrari stopped here in pit lane. They're actually right in front of the Corvette pits. Significant damage to that right rear. Now, this team has been a bit behind as it was because they had a big crash in Sebring, and they didn't even get this car put back together until Thursday. So they've really been behind the 8 ball from the get-go. We don't know, of course, what's happened yet in this situation, but they told me there was kind of a scramble just to get this car put together and ready for the race here in Long Beach.
While they work on that and try to get the car out of the way, the battle continues on the racetrack. Klaus Graf continues to lead overall over Guy Smith. Back in GT, it's Dirk Mueller, but I've got some questions about that 56 BMW. Was indeed the first car to stop merely 2 laps later. The Corvette and the number 4 of Jan Magnuson. And really the first car in the order that stopped a little bit further back would be the 17 with Brian Sellers behind the wheel running in 4th. The 62 stopped in there as well. So a little bit of question about fuel on the lead GT cars. But let's go down to the leaders overall. The Muscle Milk Team Aston Martin pits.
Lucas Luhr started second in that Muscle Milk Aston Martin, but made a move quickly. How did you manage to get ahead and then gap the competition here on the streets of Long Beach?
Well, my plan, to be honest, was to get by him in the first corner. It didn't work out well. Chris had a good start, and it was a little bit quicker than I am in the first 2 or 3 corners, but then I had the chance to make a move on turn 5 in the inside. I took it. And then our car was running great, so I was able to, you know, put a gap in between me and him, and hopefully it's enough for the end of the race.
How tricky was it making your way through some of these classes with the GTC and LMP cars that are significantly slower?
Well, it's always tricky, especially on the street circuit, and especially in the GT2 class. You know, the fight is so tight. You arrive at the prototype and nobody of the guys give you any room because they have nothing to lose, you know. And they cannot afford to lose something, so it's tough, you know. You need to make the right decisions at the right moment and not take any chances and stay out of trouble.
Lucas.
Thank you.
Lucas Luhr, a 4-time American Le Mans Series champion, certainly knows how to get the job done. The last time he was at Long Beach was in 2008, and he won here overall in an Audi R10. Klaus Graf behind the wheel of the number 6 right now. Aston Martin power in the back. Humming along right now, and the lead is all his. About 11 minutes left here from Long Beach. In the American Le Mans Series, round 2. The team's trying to hold on. The sun is beginning to set. The competition is yet to be done. We still have another 10 minutes of fighting from here in the streets of Long Beach. We said it would be a street fight. It certainly has, but we are not finished yet. There's more from Long Beach when we come back right after this. The American Le Mans Series on ESPN2 from Long Beach, California is back. The first of 5 races this year on ESPN2, and we are under full course caution. Problem for the 68, the TRG entry. Dion van Molke behind the wheel, and at the end of the back straightaway, had a great battle going in the GT Challenge category. See the 68, the blue car on the left, the 77 Magnus Racing Porsche on the right. Craig Stanton behind the wheel of the green and white Porsche, and it is a drag race down to turn 9.
Oh, and they're so close. They touch wheels.
Oh,
man.
Big hit.
That is a huge one.
Ouch. You know what? And that's, you know what? You get so used to the side-to-side contact, nothing ever going wrong. Every now and then, though, something does go wrong. Yeah, you know, so many times, if you just had that Formula driver mentality, can't touch wheels, but you put fenders on, guys, sometimes, you know, rubbing ends your race.
Yeah, you just said it never goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this time it did. It's like you get used to it. You think the fenders are going to keep you safe, just as you said. And while the car stayed on the ground, and that's a great thing, it does not create, it doesn't keep the impact from having. There's Kevin Buckler right there in the middle. He is the owner of the Racers Group. About 5 minutes left to go from here in round 2. And Dion van Molke behind the wheel. Waves to the crowd, also kind of saying, what is going on? Dion not very happy, one of the young guns of the sport.
Yeah.
It's Klaus Graf, who continues to lead overall the number 6 Muscle Milk Aston Martin Racing Prototype LMP1 category, as Dion van Molke walks to the safety vehicle, and they'll take him and check him out. Good to see him walk from the car on his own, because that was a big, big hit as you ride on board with Klaus Graf.
You know, and this really falls into Klaus' hands. He'd been doing an amazing job just looking after that car. You know, Lucas Lohr, I loved how he described, yes, my plan at the start was to get the lead in the first corner. And, you know what I mean? He didn't make it happen, but he got by and opened up a great lead. Really made it good for Klaus.
In the GT category, the 56 BMW, Dirk Mueller behind the wheel right now is leading, and I had serious questions about the fuel in that car. They were the first to pit. They came to pit road on lap 38. 1 lap later, it was the 62, then the 40. I was wondering if the 17 might have a shot at it.
The BMW that you mentioned coming in for fuel early on, they were going to be good till the end of the race. Of course, this caution coming out, it helps everyone in the field, bunching them back up. This thing could checker under yellow flag today, but they were good to the end of the race on fuel.
Well, it's easy to say now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, but also remember that they also went the furthest at Sebring. You know,
Absolutely.
the BMW guys have got the mileage down.
While it is a good day for the BMW squads, Ferrari Extreme Speed Motorsports especially not faring so well.
Scott Sharp had his Extreme Speed Ferrari as high as 3rd place, but his day ends a bit early. What happened, Scott?
Well, certainly not how we wanted the Patron ESM 01 car to start the season. 2 DNFs. You know, we had a really good pace for a while. Like you said, running 3rd, running a lot of 21s, and then just progressively seemed to be really sliding around. I think a lot of people seemed to be keeping pace pretty good, and then just ran in the corner, and the car rear just snapped on me, and all of a sudden, so I'm not sure what happened if I got into something, but fairly uncharacteristic, just came around, and I tried to keep it off the wall and just backed in with the right rear, and at that point, you know, damaged some right rear suspension.
How challenging has it been to start off the season this way? I mean, you barely got this car together for the race.
Well, I feel bad for the guys. They've done a fantastic job to get us here. Luckily, we've got some time now. You know, no one likes all the time we have off, but I guess we'll use it to prepare the car and get ourselves better.
Thanks, Scott.
Gunnar Jeanette leading in the LMP Challenge category. Core Autosport, what a season they have had. They ran an IMSA Lights last year. Team owner John Bennett said, I want to move to the LMP Challenge category. May have my sights set even higher in the future. They finished 2nd and 3rd at Sebring, and right now Gunnar Jeanette and his teammate Ricardo Gonzalez, they are leading this event. We understand that we'll see the checkered flag here soon.
You know, you hate when a race, you know, finishes like this. You know, we're all thankful that that he's okay. But you know what great battles we saw today, and so many good stories. I mean, just the fact that the you know, Brian Sellers in the 17 car, you know, they performed so well, and I expected that because, you know, when I go back to last year, you know, Wolf Hensler in that car, the opening stint, was so strong, battling for the lead. You know, it's great to see that team really coming alive this year.
And the leader in GT Challenge category, still Jeroen Bleekmolen behind the wheel of the Black Swan Racing Porsche number 54. the green and white Porsche that you see right there. We talked earlier about this team, came into the American Le Mans Series GT Challenge category last year, skipped the first race of the season, didn't even run Sebring, and still walked away with the championship. And a lot of it is due to Jerome Blinkmolen, not only his speed in the car, but his coaching of the team owner and co-driver Tim Pappas.
Well, and Tim does a great job. I mean, you know, you think a lot of times that these, you know, the hired guns helping the other guy, you know, aren't all that great. But you know what? Tim has been driving a long time. He's very capable, and sometimes, you know, having a guy like Jerome there really is going to bring him to that next level.
Well, we saw the strategy unfold. The cards got played early on, and as we said, you know, there was some question about fuel mileage. The BMW certainly had it at Sebring, but this late race caution, that intense battle between Dion von Moltke and Craig Stanton down the back straightaway has brought out the full course caution. 38 seconds left in this race. So it is one of those things where, unfortunately, we will end under caution. But it's not that we didn't see great racing here. That is for sure. What about the battery tender hard charger move? GT was intense. We knew it was going to be. Take a look at this. Joey Hand in the BMW in the back, the 56 entry. Uses a little GT Challenge traffic, a pick, and picks up 2 positions in GT.
And Patrick Long in the Porsche, Oliver Gavin in the Corvette are saying, what the heck happened there?
Where did that come from?
And the 56 drove on up to the lead. Joey Hand handed it over to Dirk Mueller. They were the first to stop in the GT category and charged their way back up to the lead after pit stop cycled through, and really have driven a flawless race.
There was a point where it did not look like it was going to go their way with the incident that happened with Oberlin and the number 3 Corvette. It really didn't look like it was going to go their way. The entire team worked well. And
that's Greg Pickett, the owner of the Muscle Milk team. Greg smiling there, and his wife beside him.
Greg and Penny, 2 of the best people that you'll see and meet in the paddock. It's Klaus Graf behind the wheel. And you said it, Johnny, you don't want to see the races in this way, but we knew that it was a chance here at Long Beach. Street fight. We kept saying it over and over again. Gunslingers. You put in the finishers at the end, and that means there's going to be hard-nosed racing. That's what we saw, and unfortunately, that's what brought out the final full course caution.
Yeah, you know what? And I will tell you, there'll be going to be so many drivers that leave this race angry and kicking themselves and being like, oh my God, we could have had it. And you know what, Klaus Graf, not one of those guys. He did a great job. The guys at BMW, you got to, you know, kudos to the guys in the 4 car. They did a great job. And Jamie Milo did an amazing job recovering from that Mello. I'm going to get it right. Mello.
Or the team.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Great job. Greg Pickett came into the year saying, we just want to have fun, and if we win races, so be it. They had fun today. They'll have fun this evening. We'll be back for all the celebrations from Victory Lane from Long Beach. The American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Mazda. Zoom, zoom. And by Michelin, a better way forward. Round 2 of the 2011 American Le Mans Series is in the books. We knew it would be a street fight. Let's talk about the prototype category LMP1, Bill. It was a good one, mano a mano. Muscle Milk Team Cytosport against Dyson Racing.
Great battle.
simply perfect.